Well, hello, happy Sunday. And yes, I am a moron. This is not Matt's fault. He did say 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, sorry, Pacific Time, but I'm an idiot. I am just an idiot. I'm
Morning.
a moron. I am just a fucking moron. And I'm sorry, but I'm just an idiot because I'm so sorry I woke you, Matt. I am apologize, but for some reason I thought I was a 1 hour behind. I didn't know that. Oh
It
my
didn't
God,
wake
I'm
me
so
up.
pissed.
I was just lying in bed reading the news on my phone, and then I was like, Anyway, I'm all
Oh,
right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very, very good. Hasn't stopped raining. Crap, it's crap. It's great because as a farmer, I love the kind of rain that's falling. But when we're trying to put, cover holes in the school and shelter, and we only have regular cement, non-fast drying cement,
Yeah.
it takes a while to dry, and then you can't mix it because it's a bit. So this is why I was rushing to get it done before the rainy season started. But yeah. And how are you doing, sir?
You know me. I'm always chipper. Just got to crack on, haven't you? I think if you've got if you do a bit of exercise every day and you've got the right mindset, there's not much you can't
Yeah.
do with, is there?
No, that's true. I get up very early in the morning and I have to ride a horse because, oh, hello, Mary. Oh, wow. Thank you, Mary. Thanks so very much for the super chat. It's not like I have to ride a horse. Hello, Ginger. Yes. Oh, thanks. Well, I am an idiot. I should have known better. I'm 55. Thanks for the support, especially with Matt. I'm embarrassed with Matt because he's so bloody smart. If I were an idiot, I wouldn't be apologizing, but he's really, really incredibly smart guy. So I want to come across as a very smart lady, So yeah.
No, much nicer than my mother ever was to me.
Oh, how's your
If you ever
mother-in-law?
said,
Is everything okay?
yeah, she's all right. She's finished all of her treatment. I don't know exactly how it works because I'm not a medical man, but yeah, I think she had like 20 sessions of chemo or
That's a lot.
radiotherapy, and then yeah, now she's done for a while. So yeah, she's doing
Wow.
all right. You have to look on the bright side, don't you? End of the
Yeah.
day,
That's good. That's
the
good.
end
So
of the
the
day,
prognosis is well.
yeah, I remember reading an article on the BBC about because breast cancer is what killed my mum when she was only in her 30s. She was
I'm
like
sorry.
36, I think.
Wow, Matt, that's very, very young.
Yeah, it's why I'm a bit of a brute, right? Because I was raised by my dad and my older brother and my uncle Ian and my cousin Lee. Like, there's no women in our family. And
But you had your grandma. Your grandma was fierce from what you told me.
yeah, exactly. She's like a sailor, so there was only her.
I love
But
that. I love that. I can only. How old were you when your mom passed away, if you don't mind me
like
asking? I know you
10,
told me.
10, I think.
That's so young. It's the worst age, I think, because, well, any age to lose a parent is terrible. But when you're a child, that age, you're fully aware of things. It's not like you're 4 or 5, where you might miss it, but you suddenly don't see a parent. But I think, anyways, that at 10 years of age, you are cognitive of things
Oh
around.
yeah, it had a profound effect on me as an adult. Because of my attitude now towards children is I'm very mature with them, and it's because of that. I think that the response I had as a kid because I think I've talked about this on my live streams before when people have asked. I remember when my mum was bad, my mum and dad sort of lied to me, like they kept it from me. I think when they knew it
Yeah.
was terminal, they were lying about it. But she was dead pally with a lot of people. I got my mum's personality. My brother and my dad laugh about it because they're both sort of gruff, and I'm the
Mhm.
chatty type. And they were like,
Oh my
"Christ,
God.
I am like my mum." And she was friends with everyone, and she was dead close to a girl at school called Pearl, and that was my mate's mother, who we used to hang around with quite a lot. And obviously, she knew, and she must have told my mate. He was called Matthew Hammond, and we had an argument on the playground, as you do when you're like 9. And he said to me, "Who cares if your stupid mother dies?" And I didn't know that she was actually going to die. And I
Yeah.
went home and said to my dad, "What's the crack with this?" Like, just brought it up straight away. And he was like, "Oh, shit." Like, sort of basically told me. And because of that, I hate it when people mother children. And again, maybe I'm a bit too far that way as a result of my
Yeah.
upbringing surrounded by men and my mum, what happened there. But I don't like it when you see like a 7-year-old and you get like a woman. Generally, it's females who talks to them as if they're a bit special. Like they go, "Hello, how you
No, 7 is
doing?"
too much. 7 is too much. I mean,
Yeah,
with
like
Henrik, I used to talk to him up to 2 years of age, but after that, I would like read political things to him in a
yeah.
soft soothing voice, but I've
Yeah.
never talked to my. Maybe that's why he's like that, because he's so serious, and maybe I should have used more of that voice, but
Nah, he'll just turn out like me. That's not terrible. But
yeah,
that's what I do. I talk to kids like adults. Like, if a
yeah, yeah.
7-year-old says to me, like my nephew, Sam's like, where do babies come from? I don't tell him about the stork. The first reason why, because he might go, who fucks a stork? The second thing is because I think kids can take it. You just tell them, like, it's not that complicated. We're an evolved primate and it works this way.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I don't think you should. I think kids are a lot smarter than people think they are. Once they hit about 5 or 6, I think you have proper conversations with children. If
Yeah.
they ask you a question, you tell them to the best of your ability. There's no need to lie about it. The only thing I would lie about is Santa Claus, because I have read stories in The Guardian that the commies are like, oh yeah, this is just a patriarchal system and you shouldn't lie to children. I'm like, you miserable bastards. Like, the one thing I enjoyed about being a kid was Father Christmas. So lie to
Yeah,
them about Santa till they're about 10. I think you can do that. But
yeah.
generally, I try to be quite direct with children.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me
Because they're
too.
smarter
With
than you
my
think.
son, too. There were certain situations in my marriage relationship that I couldn't tell him because he was too young. But as far as not sugarcoating certain things, being very honest with him and straightforward within, of course, because he was too young, for me to but I did, like, and because he's so smart, that bloody guy, my son, so it's not like I could really hide things from him. When you have a smart kid, it sucks, so
Well, it's a double-edged sword. I think it's
yeah,
better than
yeah,
having an absolute fucking idiot.
yeah, no. That is the case. That is
don't,
so true. That is.
don't want your son to be
Listen,
a
man,
plank.
I saw you did, so you're no longer a monarchist.
No, I'm definitely off the train now. I've got some regard for. I think I'm on the fence with Kate and William, but I can't take Charles. Like, if everything he does is to undermine the culture, history, and traditions of the people, he's not performing his role. Like, there was a lot to the oath we made when we joined the military. It wasn't just, oh yeah, we love the Queen, she is easy. It was, the roles and representatives and everything they stand for. There's 1,000, well, longer. There's 1,500 years of history goes back with the British monarchy. It's not like we haven't got precedent that we can check and we know how this system's supposed to work. And as I've always said, people talk about rights all the time. Oh, it's against my rights. It's against my rights. Well, there's also the other half of that coin is your responsibilities. And the monarch has a responsibility to do their bit, and we have a responsibility as subjects to do our bit. And I was more than happy to be a monarchist when the Queen was doing her bit. But I don't think this guy's doing his bit. So if he's not doing his bit, why should I do mine?
Well, I mean, did a painting really set you off that bad? I mean, I hated the fucking painting. I just want to clarify that I first of all, one of the things that I like, and call me old fashioned, but the whole reason that the monarchy has existed 1,000 years is because there was tradition, pomp, and ceremony. What is wrong with tradition? That is
Nothing
the
wrong with
backbone
it.
of the culture. Why is he conforming to a minority, instead of, like, and I got your point, that instead of actually catering to the majority, or his audience, to make sure that he doesn't lose part of his audience to the other side, he's catering to the other side, and that other side is never going to like him, and
Ever.
he's going to lose people on people like you, you are somebody
But
for
but
that.
look, you can see why, because this has happened across all Anglo nations, all and European and everywhere else, I suppose. Essentially, what's going on? I know exactly what the cause of it is. The arrogance has come because of the ability that the people in power have had to control the narrative for the last 1,000 years, right? And that's obvious. Like, history is written by the victors, and the people that run the show can tell you whatever they want, and you'll believe it. And they've had that ability for so long. They seem to honestly believe that they can make you believe up is down and left is right. It was, everybody knows this is what went on during the pandemic. We had there's all these leaked documents now, the nudge units and the psyops divisions, that 22 of these brigade, is it 22 or 27 brigade or something? There's like a psychological warfare group, and they're tying up with the EU and all of that stuff. And they think that they can condition you to believe whatever they want. It's the arrogance that they've got. So obviously the people in power have been saying, well, what you do is that your base will always support you. So yeah, we've already got them. Let's embark on a charisma offensive against the people that don't like us, and then we'll have everyone. And what people like me have been telling them is that you don't realize the rules have changed. Joe Biden's, because he's old, still thinks he can go to a blue state and tell them, yeah, we're going to take everyone's guns, and he's the man who's going to do it. That was his quote, because he pointed at Beto O'Rourke when he was at a blue rally with Beto O'Rourke in Texas, I think. And he comes out and he says, yeah, we're going to take your guns, and he's the man who's going to do it. And then the next day he flies 2,000 miles to a red state and he says, we're definitely not going to take your guns. We're definitely not going to take your guns. And some guy's there, because the rules have now changed, and he just gets his phone out and goes, all right, you're not, are you? And he just shows him the footage of him saying the exact opposite the day before. And then the whole room turns against him and he just leaves. And it's took them by surprise because the rules have changed. 50 years ago, if Joe Biden did that, he could get away with it because the media's on side, the press corps, and they're sending, typing out telegrams and stuff, and then they control the narrative. So if he says one thing in a red state and another thing in a blue state, nobody finds out about it because the press corps in on it and everything's done by like letters. But now we've got this digital era where people are getting the news off the likes of you and me. And they're not even watching CNN anymore. Like, their numbers have tanked. Joe Rogan gets like 100 times as many listeners and viewers as CNN's best show does. So the rules have changed and they don't get it. So they thought they could have us all. They thought they could take the base for granted and then indoctrinate and condition the anti-monarchists or the far left, the woke. The Conservative Party did it in England, didn't they? This is exactly what they've done, and they're going to get destroyed in the election. Because they took the Conservatives for granted and they said, right, now let's concentrate on the lefties. And the lefties aren't playing the game because they're getting the media from alternative sources as well. So it's a total dog's breakfast and they don't get it. The elites haven't caught up with the normal people who are getting alternative media sources. So it hasn't worked. And the proof's in the pudding because obviously they've turned people like me into anti-monarchists. And Rishi Sunak has just showed us what happens when you take your Conservative base for granted for 10 years, the Conservative Party, and you think you can indoctrinate and brainwash the lefties into liking you. And you watch what happens in this election on the 4th of July. He's going to get absolutely destroyed. I think it'll be the worst electoral result for the Conservatives in the last century. I'll make the prediction now. I bet you he gets less than 50 seats. He's going to get absolutely destroyed. The whole country is going to vote Labour because they took the Conservatives for granted and they thought, we'll just brainwash the rest of them. And it doesn't work. You've got to play to your base. And Donald Trump showed how it's done. You play to your base and you go, I don't care what you guys have to say. And that's what's gone on there. These morons thought they could turn ardent Republicans into monarchists by pandering to them for 10 years. And all they've done is alienate people like us that actually like the monarchy. It's ludicrous. I can't believe they're this stupid. And as I said, mark my words, watch what happens on the 4th of July. The Conservatives are going to get decimated because they took us for granted.
Yeah, but what was it about the painting that I actually watched that thing? I was laughing my head off. Well, I watch a lot of your
he's
videos.
a lefty because he's a lefty activist. Even the bloke who painted the painting is a lefty activist arsehole. That was my point. Like,
why would they commission him to do something like that?
Well, this is what I'm saying. Because they're like, oh, a little piece in the puzzle. Let's commission lefty arseholes to do our paintings for us. That'll bring them on our side. The guy who's painting it is like, haha, taking the money, laughing his tits off while he's painting it, purposely putting in subliminal messaging to make him look a twat. Like and they're laughing all the way to the bank. Like, can you believe this jug-eared moron thinks I'm going to paint him in a nice painting? And he's put the horns and stuff in there. Like, it's not subliminal messaging even. You put two of the paintings together and he looks like Beelzebub. Like, they've done it on purpose. If you're stupid enough to think that's a good idea, well, then I'm sorry. I'm not stupid enough to support you.
Absolutely. And it is just horrendous. And you know what's incredible? A lot of people, I know that art is subjective, but when you look at the monarchy, what do you look to the monarch? monarchy for? Tradition.
Yeah,
You know, tradition.
100%.
Like you want a regal painting. You don't want an idiot that looks like the devil with no eyes, who's come out of nowhere with a little butterfly on this
In a
side
bloodbath. Yeah,
in a
bloodbath and
exactly on a
insects.
bloodbath. And you have these critics saying, "Oh my God, it's so beautiful." And the people who don't say that it's beautiful is because they don't get art and they're ignorant. So they want to frame it in such a way that if you don't go in agreement with them, you're an idiot, you're an ignorant, and you don't know about art. They are the ones, in my very humble opinion, who don't know about art because art is subjective. But the first thing you see, and people say, well, it's powerful because it's memorable. The only reason why it's memorable is because it's red, shitty bloodbath, like you say. It's nothing like you're going to think regal when you look at that painting. You don't think history when you look at that painting. You don't think 1,000 years of tradition when you look at that painting. You just think of an idiot who's like,
Terrible.
yeah.
Terrible is memorable. If the first time we ever meet in person, you kick me in the bollocks, I'll never forget it. But there's nothing good about it. It says, remember that time I met Paula and she hoofed me in the bollocks? You don't forget terrible. That's why the media always run terrible stories every day. It's chaos on the front pages, right? Because it's terrible. That memorable doesn't mean anything. Just because it's memorable doesn't mean it's automatically good. This is what I'm saying. You should have found a popular conservative monarchist artist and said, do me a painting. It would have been supporting his base. He would have been financially supporting someone who supports him. And he would have done a good job of it. And instead, he thought, what I'll do is I'll pay an insane left-wing commie activist, give him loads of money, and he'll take the piss out of me on a world stage. Oh, yeah, that's a brilliant idea. If you're that stupid, I'm sorry, I can't support you. The guy's famous for it. Like I said, have you looked into the artist? He was famous for doing obscene, pornographic pictures of people like Sarah Palin and George Bush. The guy is a anti-monarchist activist. So what are you doing paying him to make a painting of you? Like, the guy's just a complete imbecile. Also, his position on the religion of peace is completely unforgivable. He's supposed to be the defender of the faith. Like, unlike the United States, the British monarch's supposed to be the head of the church and the state. And this guy's like a bloody lefty arts student. He slags off Christianity. And he constantly goes on about the other one that aren't very tolerant of women and democracy and English tradition. It's mental. It's mental. And that's what I said.
And that's the thing. You know what? I did videos because I said, I am a Catholic. I don't need Charles to defend my faith because I am a Catholic. I have the Pope. He's who defends my faith. And I'm sure that there are other people in other faiths who defend their faiths. I don't need Charles, of all people, to come and say, I'm going to be the defender of the Catholic. I want to be the defender of all faiths. That's how arrogant and narcissistic this man is that he thinks that he is the defender of all faiths. You know what? Stick to your faith, which actually you don't follow and you don't defend. And shut up and just sit down. Don't write to parliament. Don't interfere in politics. Don't interfere in any shit that you've been interfering behind the scenes, and just rule like the Queen did, which is neutral. Be Switzerland for a change. I was appalled when they sent Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, to Ukraine to support their troops and blah. Why would they do that? Because that makes it harder for Putin, if they want to have a meeting, because the monarchy is the one. You could have sent a politician, but why send Sophie, of all people, who's very popular, to Ukraine to show support to a crooked president whose wife is buying 80,000 pounds or 80,000 euros Hermès bags? I mean, are we serious? And this is why didn't they send a politician? Why did they send somebody from the monarchy? And the monarchy should remain neutral, because the whole point of it is it's trying to get peace to places. And if you take sides, you can't bring people together. That's the whole point of the monarchy, that the monarchy can do what no politician can, because usually politicians take sides and they take sides depending on what's popular at the moment. So I was shocked. I was disappointed. And people were, oh my God, how great, Sophie. I'm like, what are you doing? And then I remember when the Queen, if I remember correctly, please let me know, okay? The Queen hosted the president of China at a state banquet, right? The government invited because of course China and has very tenuous relationship with most people in the world, right?
Yeah.
But they wanted to kind of, start some bridge. What did Charles do? He hosted that pedo Dalai Lama at Clarence House and didn't show up at the state dinner in protest of the queen, instead of showing support to his mother and respecting the monarch. And this is when people say, why does Harry behave like that? The apple
Unbelievable.
truly doesn't fall far from the tree, because his
Yeah.
duty was to support his mother. He didn't attend the state banquet, I believe, if I remember correctly. He didn't, and instead he held a dinner for the Dalai Lama, competing with his mother.
Yeah.
People don't, and we've seen what that Dalai Lama did to that little boy, didn't we? Which
Unbelievable.
was quickly removed. Do you know
Unbelievable.
that I did a video, Matt, and it was immediately taken down?
Oh, I bet
I
it
did a
was.
video. I did a video saying, what? I didn't even say the word pedo. What is going on here? Why is this allowed? Why isn't this clearly in jail? And and nothing. It was taken down by YouTube because they don't want that narrative out there. They don't want
This
people to remember this. People don't know this or don't remember this because of the internet wasn't really, well, no, the internet was there, but the mainstream media managed to remove stories. They don't want it to be in the out in the public domain for too long. Sometimes they report it, but they report it in a small thing. It's like Prince Charles, hosting the Dalai Lama, while his mother's hosting the Chinese president. Like, they wanted to portray him as the good, and his mother, who was doing her job, the evil person.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's an apt point you make there, really, as well, though, about the defender of the faith, isn't it? Because the current pope is probably the least popular one for a long time, like, because it's the same thing. Like, they're all trying to like upend the chessboard and make their own way in the world. It's like, don't you realize the people that support your institution are traditionalists? That's why they support the institution. That's why they support the
exactly.
idea of hereditary leadership and stuff. The Pope isn't, you don't get 2 billion Catholics going, right, we'll choose the next Pope. They know it's not a democracy and they don't care because it's
Yeah.
tradition that it happens that way.
Exactly. And I remember because everybody gathers outside of the Vatican to wait for the smoke, whether it's white or black, is the
Yeah,
tradition of it all.
it's
And with
tradition.
Charles, there's no tradition. And they think he's being progressive. Don't be progressive. Be a royal. Bring the royal values to the table. This is what people want. Even the young people, even the young people, they still look they had, why even young people had a lot of respect for the queen, who was 92 and 91 years of age, because,
Yeah,
and young people flocked to the UK to watch the guards, to watch this, to watch, because that people want to see something that they don't see now, that's fleeting, that
yeah,
disappears and everything. But no, he's doing his darn best. Oh, thank you, Trishanska Baba. He's doing his darn best to remove and erase everything that made the monarchy great. And Parliament is allowing it, because Parliament can control Charles, because this is a constitutional monarchy, the last time I checked. And there's some checks and balances that the Parliament must have in order to keep things in the right path. So, but
100%.
but that's just me, because everybody's so corrupted, to tell you the truth. But that's why you turned off to be a monarchist, right?
Yeah, yeah. By the way, you can tell you're a polyglot because the way you pronounce that name instantly rolled off your tongue. You're like,
Which
ah,
one?
thank you, Ranching Baba. And I was like, holy shit, if I tried to read that, I'd be like,
What,
I
what
can
which word that I pronounce that?
whoever just sent you a super chat, you went, oh, thank you. Yeah, it just rolled straight off your tongue there. I was like, whoa, if I tried to pronounce that, it'd sound like the alphabet vomiting. It's like,
Otra chance baba. Yeah. Oh.
hey, I was like, what? Waza? Yeah, anyway, you can see you're a talented polyglot. Yeah, so the point you're making is an apt one. And it's basically agreeing with what I've said, right? Except in a slightly different way, because it's the same thing with the Catholic Church. Exactly the
Yeah.
same as with the monarchy. People are
Yeah.
there for the tradition. They're there for the
Actually, they
tradition.
try to shame the Pope, because there was an article right now in the Guardian, some
I seen him
newspaper.
kissing everyone, all them birds' feet. Did you see that?
Where is
I think
that?
there was a story about him a couple of weeks ago saying it's like traditionally, I think it was only men or something, and he had a load of women in, and he was like kissing the feet, like Jesus apparently did. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, oh yeah, I bet he's into that. It's super. They are. This is what I'm saying, though. They're all trying to do it. All of them. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about prime ministers and presidents,
Yeah,
or popes, or monarchs. They're all being told by the deranged sociopaths that run the world, we've got this, lads. We can indoctrinate and we
yeah,
can intimidate. So what we'll do is you keep all the ones you've already got. You've already got all the Catholics. You've already got all the monarchists. What you really need to do is get all of these polyamorous, demi-cule, gimp suit, fucking waving a dildo around outside of primary school types. That's what you should be doing. And they go, oh, brilliant idea, brilliant idea. And they don't realise that these people do not care. It's the point I was making about Charles. You can make as many Islamophile, LGBT, polycule videos as you like. Those people will guillotine you outside Buckingham Palace. So you can
I
stop.
agree. I
Do you know what
agree.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
But this
I
is
agree.
what they're doing. Look, I mean, a great example. Let's talk about that. The religion of peace, right? That is a classic example because when Amber Rudd was the Home Secretary in the United Kingdom, she actually made a concerted attempt to like talk them in to British values. And Douglas Murray made a great point, and he said, "Do you honestly think?" Again, it's the arrogance of these people. Do you
Yeah.
honestly think that people who are devoted, devout followers of a Bronze Age monotheism, who get told the Ayatollah is the mouthpiece of God himself, who have a book that says this book, to every word in it, was dictated verbatim by an angel, and he wrote it all down. Do you think they're going to go, yeah, but this is Amber Rudd, the Home Secretary. She's much more important. This is this weird thing, and these people, politicians, are they're even worse than like actors or singers or something, because at least they're there for a while. Politicians are in the chair for about 2 years and then they're gone. And these lunatics actually think they have the power to convert people that have the religious fervor of a radical cleric. Like, these people are in a cult and they get told what to think. And they believe it with every fibre of their beings. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking about the woke lot or the followers of the religion of peace. You can't just go on telly once or twice a year and say, oh, you know what, love Trump's here, LGBTQ plus I, or oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, they added one vowel
Islam.
more, right? They added one more, the I thing.
Oh, Christ, it's about 200 letters at this point, but you get the point. He actually is thick enough to think he can go on telly twice a year and go, tell you what, love Muslims, me, think they're brilliant. And they're all going to go, oh, this guy's way better than Allah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah,
how stupid is he?
yeah.
So what you do, instead of just playing to the base, which is a nailed-on tactic because it works, he's completely upended the apple cart. And like I said, think about it. When they're attacking people, and it is an aggressive religion. Like, you've Christianity and Catholicism and Judaism have got their own attempts to, control the flock.
I know.
Big three,
and I remember that. No, I wasn't around for that, but
the big three, everybody knows that one is more aggressive than the other two.
Yeah.
Right? It's only where after the Poles finally twatted them at the gates of Vienna did it actually stop encroaching into Europe. Yeah, and they took Constantinople, and the Grand Mosque now in Turkey used to be Christian, right? It's the Hagia Sophia. It is more aggressive. I think anybody who knows anything can concede that one of those monotheisms is more aggressive than the other two. And he actually thinks if he goes on TV like once or twice a year and says, I enjoy Ramadan, lads, all these people whose allegiance is 100% to the religion are going to go, I'll tell you what, I like King Charles. I like King Charles more than I like my own group of people. It really is madness. And it wouldn't work the other way around, would it? Like, think of that. You know for a fact, if the Grand Ayatollah got up in Iran and said, I'll tell you what, I love Catholics, me, you wouldn't all go, right, I'm converted straight away. It doesn't work.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why he doesn't take pride on who he represents. And why doesn't he try to get people to like the Church of England? I don't know if it's because the Church of England said they wouldn't marry him to Camilla because, It was, but what I wanted to tell you this because the Pope did an interview, but the mainstream media tried to portray it as a bad thing, how evil and nasty. Because the woman asked him, well, in the church, with nowadays and the Me Too movement and everything, would you consider having a female priest? And he goes, no. No,
Oh yeah, yeah.
no, and
Nah,
they go
not
like,
having that.
no, and it's like
Yeah,
all over the place that what had a nasty man. No, that is our religion. That is what we believe in. You know,
yeah.
this is like asking a Muslim if they would think that a female is gonna be, like is gonna be allowed to be paraded naked. It's like something that's the foundation of the faith.
Yeah.
And for some reason they're trying to erode those foundations and even with the young people nowadays that have zero morals, zero. And you know what it is that I find, and I don't know if you disagree with this, the reason why the youth is so confused is because the elder people are not putting firm parameters, firm boundaries. They don't have like, okay, you're a man, you're a man, you're a woman, you're a woman. Okay, you may be gay, but you're not a woman. You may cut your dick off, but you're not a woman. But
Yeah,
you know what
weird
I
that, isn't
mean?
it?
No, but it's like there are people don't know how to identify because people are catering to that confusion. I don't know if it makes any sense to what I'm saying. It's like they want to keep the people confused, especially children. They want to play with their minds, keep them confused, raise them confused. It's like, oh, you don't know who you are. You don't know who you are. We're going to send you to this preschool place where this transvestite or transgender is going to be doing a pole dance, and we're going to celebrate it as something that is supposed to be, instead of children being children, teach them the basics so when they grow, they can make their own choices. This is how I was brought up. But now I find that the mainstream media is catering to confusion, to lack of identity, lack of tradition, lack of role models. It's like yeah, I find that very, very upsetting, to tell you the truth. So it took a painting for you not to become a monarchist, to say
Yeah,
fuck it.
that made me spit my tummy out. I was like, I've had enough. I've had enough. But it is all linked. Like I said, like we pay attention. It's all linked, isn't it? You're talking about the kids there. It's all part of the plan. Like, have you not noticed this? In the last 10 years, they've embarked on the most aggressive indoctrination campaign ever for children. They don't let them be children anymore. They don't let them have a childhood. And like I said, they'll go, oh, you can't lie about Santa Claus. That's an agent of the patriarchy. Let's tell them about sucking the granddad off. Like they do this weird thing where they're trying to turn them into little robots who do as they're told. And then, funny old thing, have you not noticed in the last couple of years what the big push is now with regards to kids? Voting.
No.
They keep going, oh, the voting age should be 14. All right, so they've indoctrinated them and conditioned them. And now they're constantly pushing, saying, oh, they should have a say on their future. Oh, they have to. Labour have said they're going to let 16-year-olds vote. The SNP were trying to put it down to 14 because they're indoctrinating them to be good little androids and do as they're told. So it's all linked, isn't it? Think about it. Like they've been indoctrinating kids tons in our last decade. And now they're rolling out we have to let all the kids vote. Because people like you and me, the older people, we think for ourselves because they didn't get to us when we were kids. So what they're doing, they're conditioning the children to hate the parents and hate the tradition and hate all this stuff. It's a sick plan, and they're doing it so that look. This isn't me rambling. This is all backed up by objective evidence. Look what they did with Trump voters. Have you not seen all of those thousands of opinion piece stories where they're like, my boomer father voted for Trump, now I'll never talk to him again? You're getting sons and daughters, because they're being fully brainwashed by the education systems, to
It's
revere
creating
the
division. It's
state.
creating division and extremist views too, because
It's just
either
commie.
or. There's either or,
Yeah.
for or against. That is what this is. It's like, it's not. There's no. Let's talk about this. It's either you're for this or you're against this. There's
Yeah.
no middle ground anymore. And it's except when you're except in gender. In gender, you can be fluid. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
then there's a middle ground. There's a
Yeah,
middle
there's a
ground in a
middle
gimp
ground.
suit. Yeah. But think about it. this is just, which is what I've told you loads of times. I don't like mess around with all of these terms. I just call them commies. They
Yeah.
are commies. It's changed. It's changed. Like people go neo-communist, neo-fascist, neo-liberal, whatever. They're just commies. And because all of the stuff, ultimately, when you boil it down to it and strip some layers away, it's all the same stuff that keeps happening. History is a form of prophecy, which is why I love reading history.
Yeah.
It is, and it's just the exact same thing. So in Stalin's Russia, right, they all had that reverence for that little kid who shopped his own parents. Do you ever hear that story? They conditioned this kid so he shopped his own parents when they weren't playing by the book. And the Russian state turned him into a hero, and they put statues up and everything. And they used to tell all the children, you should want to be like this kid, where you shop your own parents to the state so they get sent to the gulag. And that's just what they're doing now. And that's why there's thousands of opinion pieces, and they're on Twitter praising you. If you go on Twitter and say, my mother is a middle-aged old bitch who voted for Trump, so I'm never talking to her again, they'll put it on telly, and you'll have John Oliver and all of them on America going, oh, look at this wonderful kid. They're brainwashing them because they're replacing them. Because people like you and I, they didn't get to young enough. So we don't just do as we're told. So they want us to go in the gulag, and they want our own kids to put us in there. It's obvious. It's just the same stuff.
It's disgusting. They want to remove the word mother.
Children.
They want to remove the word mother. I mean,
it's
a burden person. You know what? Excuse me. I carried a child, especially when you have a vaginal, birth. I had a C-section because my son had to come earlier. And even that was painful, because they cut you up completely. And trust me, the recovery period, it's painful. And then, I got up the next day and started walking because I just wanted to walk, and it was painful. You feel like your whole insides are burning for at least a couple of days, 3 days. But I walked and walked and walked because I know the sooner I walked, the sooner I heal. But it was not something that I look forward to. I can tell you that. But can you imagine somebody telling my son, you can't use the word mother because it's offensive? And I'm not being this crazy Catholic person. This is not even about that, because I'm not a crazy Catholic person. I go to church once in a while. I'm not a complete, I'm not an extremist. I have my beliefs. I go to church. I don't even go to church on Sundays most of the times. I go on a weekday when there's nobody there, to get rid of the word mother, you're a chest feeder.
Yeah, but see, this is what I'm saying, and you're putting it together, and this is all part of the plan. This is what I mean. It makes sense when you start paying attention. Because think about it. They indoctrinate the kids. They tell them mum and dad are evil. They're pushing this conditioning on them so they'll turn against you. They keep mentioning things like, oh no, the children belong to all of us. Biden and Pelosi and all them are doing it over here. No, the children belong to the community. And then, so there's another piece. And then the last piece is, maybe it'll be slightly easier to put the mother in the gulag. If you don't call her mother anymore, maybe it'll be a little bit easier. There might be some resistance in the back of your mind. Shouldn't I feel guilty about ditching my own mother in the gulag? So what they'll say is, get rid of that word, start calling it the chest feeder. And then they'll be like, come round your house, shut up, chest feeder, get in the gulag. It's like, your own son prodding you with a taser. Get in the gulag, chest feeder.
Rosie's Cottage says, Paula, NHS here are referring to mothers as birthing persons.
Birthing persons. Throw the birthing person in the gulag. See, it's all coming together, right?
No, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And, I wanted to ask about this because I know this is something, two things I will ask, because it's related to the royals a little bit, because to me, it shows the reach that they have. Because people think, Meghan and Harry are in the US, they don't have any reach. And people do actually think that Harry and Meghan are powerful because, of what they are able to achieve or get other people to do. But in my very humble opinion, it's not that they're powerful. To me, they're two useful idiots. But because Charles has a lot of connections. I know that Gavin Newsom is a moron, corrupt, bankrupt morally in every possible way, very good friends with Ron Burkle, the billionaire owner of Soho House, but still a governor of California. And he went and publicly defended a private, corrupt, delinquent charity. You heard that scandal, right? Of the arts. Yeah. I mean, he took this was to promote mental health and billions of dollars in donations and grants. So I wonder if Arch was going to get a grant. And I have two things to ask you because this is really interesting. Because Harry and Meghan are using Archwell as the front to travel to Nigeria and all these places. And I wonder if there was a rush from the U.S. government to ensure that the Archwell was in good standing, because if it's not in good standing, they can't travel anywhere representing or using that Archwell Foundation. Because I was surprised. I was surprised that that the UK just signed at the beginning of March a 7 billion trade deal with Nigeria, and the US just signed a $1 billion annually to Nigeria. And now the UK is also just signed up and reaffirmed a better trade deal with Ghana, which is where Harry's going. And no, I'm serious. But do you think that why would Gavin Newsom, regardless of how much of an idiot he is, the position of the governor of California, defending a delinquent private charity?
Yeah. Well, it's because he's in the club, isn't he? Like I told you, this is where we disagreed, where I was telling you, like, every time you've ever said to me, "Oh, we'll get him for this," I'm like, no, they won't. Because there's a different set of rules for them. It's a big club, but we aren't in it, and he is, and they're probably getting direction from above, right? Newsom's being told none of this happens by accident.
Yeah,
Newsom's being told this is what you're doing, and because he's an oily, self-serving little rat, he's doing as he's told. It's all just I don't know. It's nailed on that you can always predict what's going to happen, can't you? Because they are embarrassingly predictable, and they're embarrassingly predictable because they've got that arrogance that they know that they're untouchable. Newsom can do as he pleases, and Harry, look on about. Let's talk about that California governorship. They know they can do as they please, and that proves it. What happened to Pelosi's husband? Because I made a video about that. If you were walking home from the shop and a bloke jumped out and smashed your face in with a hammer, he'd probably get about 2 years in jail. But if some weird rent boy turns up, right? How do you get in Paul Pelosi's house at 2 o'clock in the morning? If me and you tried to break into Paul Pelosi's
all the
house,
security, because the house is heavily. People should know this, that house, because who she is secured
massively.
Yeah. So if
me and you tried to get in the house, we would not get anywhere. We wouldn't get within 100 meters of it. And when you watch the body cam footage, he's there with his pants off inside his house. The coppers are there in the door, and he's there with his arm round him, and he's got his pants off, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this weird guy came out of nowhere." It's like, oh, he came somewhere, but it wasn't out of nowhere.
I saw that video. I was laughing so hard.
I'm saying they make the rules. That bloke will never get out of prison. There's people in prison now, like murderers and rapists and pedos, and they're all going to get out before that guy does. Because the law's an arse. The law is an arse. It proper made me angry, that, because in the last few years I've seen so many light touch sentences by these little lefty do-gooders where some scumbag piece of shit kills someone and just gets let off with a year-long sentence or counselling or something. And then that guy hit him once. You've seen on the video, the coppers are right there, hit him once. Probably had a lover's tiff. And then he goes to jail for the rest of his life and he'll never ever get out. That's not how the law's supposed to work. They do as they please. And they're following their orders, aren't they? They're just all in this big club. They're all linked. Davos and Klaus Schwab and Joe, they're all singing off the same hymn sheet. So I don't think there needs to be much conjecture about it. They're just doing as they're told. And
who do you think told him? Who do you think told him? Who do you think told him to do that? That's the question I want to ask you, because you're very. I mean, what would your take be? Where would you put your money on who told Gavin Newsom? You got to mention Archwell and Rachel Meghan Markle. I mean, of all people, Rachel Meghan Markle, to have him in the mouth of a governor.
It'll be one of those faceless ones who you don't really see very often. Do you remember like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the one who works for the DNC, who there was a massive scandal about her leaking all the questions to Hillary Clinton before they were going to debate Bernie Sanders. And again, this proves that they can just do what they want. Because they rigged. They keep talking about Trump. They rigged the election. And we know they did. Because Clinton got sent the questions before the debate, and nothing was done about it. So
Yeah.
it'll be those. It's usually not the ones at the front. It's the ones whose name nobody knows. So I don't think it's Joe Biden phoning him and going like, "Okay, this is what you're doing." It's these clever bastards behind the scenes who work for CIA or FBI or WEF or any of the
But why
numerous
would
big
that be?
clubs.
Why would it be? And I understand that, but why would they want to do that? Because there are other charities that are very powerful, other people who have, because once I looked at the delinquent, she was in the delinquent list like 4 days on after Gavin Newsom gave the speech, and he trashed his own this justice defense, guy. He trashed him, say, oh, they make mistakes all the time. And they actually didn't make the mistake, because Archwell did ask for an extension because they couldn't it wasn't even about the payment, it was about the records, like they wanted to have the records, because they asked for an extension in 2023. They were supposed to hand in the records on April 2023 for the 2022 year. They didn't hand them. So they asked for an extension, and they got the extension, and they were supposed to hand the records in 2024, April 2024, which they didn't. And that triggered an automatic letter. Okay. So they already knew that they hadn't sent the records because they themselves had asked for an extension. But my point is, why specifically this thing? It's very, very shady, to say the least, because that got me curious. And I'm a very curious person, because I'm surprised, because I looked at the list. There were some powerful charities that were delinquent there. And because when you go into their website, the Justice Department website, you go to the delinquent list, there was Archwell. But then when I read all the delinquent, I was like, fuck me, these guys are delinquent. It's like, wow. And how come Gavin Newsom? Because these are massive charities that were like charities that deal with millions and millions and millions of dollars, that are well known, and they were delinquent. And Gavin Newsom didn't mention them. When I was like,
And they're out here as well, though, aren't they? They might have some links, like maybe there's some dodgy money getting laundered through there or something. I bet you they'll be getting money off. I mean, how corrupt all those African states as well, aren't they? They might be like, oh, we can get $1 billion off Nigeria. We can
yeah,
launder the money through the charity and then put it straight in Newsom's arse pocket. And then Biden, the big guy, always gets a slice. They might be trying to bankroll their Joe's electoral campaign by getting dodgy payments from a few corrupt African nations or something.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because the scandal that broke that Harry and Meghan, actually two of the kings that Harry called in-laws, are actually fugitives and criminals, and the one that was flying them around all over Nigeria is in the run from the United States for money laundering more than $20 million. And there's no scandal about it in the US.
Yeah, well, think about it as well. I mean, it's not like those places aren't famous for corruption. Nigeria is probably the most famous place for corruption in the world, right? Everyone says this, Nigerian scammers, and they talk about them driving around in Lagos, and they're all wearing like gold chains and they've got bling bling because they're like financially robbing people all around the world. It's like he's gone to the most corrupt places in the world. So that's probably why. It's like money laundering or something. Everybody knows how dodgy those places are. Yeah. It's not like he's off going places that aren't dodgy. Yeah. He's not in Iceland. He's in Nigeria. It'll be dirty money that they're washing. It's like the equivalent of Walter White's car wash in Nigeria. It's where people put the money to give it a rinse.
I wanted to take this time because I want to show you something, because this is a perfect example of how the mainstream media, and I know it's only Harry and Meghan Markle, but my point is that if they're doing this with these idiots, what else are they doing with really serious stuff? Okay, I'm going to show you something. Andrew from POV beat me to it because he posted a video about it, but I was going to show, because actually this story stems from Nicaragua and it involves Meghan Markle, and it had nothing to do with me. But this is a story that's very interesting, and everybody knew about it, but nobody said anything. So I'm going to show you something here, because this lady, Matt, is a writer. Her name is Georgina Lawton. Okay, and this is a woman who found out she had two white parents. She grew up in Surrey, very white upbringing, but she started suspecting she was different because her two parents, look at her two parents are absolutely white. you know.
Yeah.
And then she decided to invest, and because also she said that when she went to school, one of the kids said, if you scratch your skin, you might become white, something like that.
Yeah.
So what she did is like, when she grew up, of course, she started questioning things. And when her father passed away because of cancer, she wanted to know more about her heritage, because it became very clear to her that clearly, you know, she needed to know more why she didn't look like her parent, like white, because both her parents
Mm.
were Irish and British. So she came to, she took a DNA test to find out about her heritage and everything. And then she found out two things: that her father wasn't her father, right? And when she was traveling in Nicaragua, she got the test results. She was in Corn Island. Here she says, I looked out the window at a sparkling sea. Moments from my building, I was seconds away from a giant palm trees, crystalline waters, and powdery white sands on Nicaragua. And that is true. Corn Island, 3,241 miles away. And this is when she found out. And I'm going to tell you why this is very important, because she said she found out she was 43% Nigerian. Does that sound familiar? And that the first thing she did was phone her mother, FaceTime her mother, and there was a silence when she told her mother, because and the mother didn't want to talk about it. That is word per word what Rachel Meghan Markle said in Archetypes. She literally stole
Word
this
for
story. And
word.
I'm going to tell you why this is relevant, because the entire world has gone along with the grift that she claimed she was 43% Nigerian, when we all know that bullshit. So to me, why are they pushing this narrative? Why are the governments involved? And that is, if they're willing to go along with this, Matt, people should really be questioning everything in the media and the mainstream media.
Yeah.
And I wanted to expose this because Meghan Markle is not 43% Nigerian. The world knows it. The press knows it. Everybody knows it. This lady is 43% Nigerian, because you can clearly see, and she got her test results and everything. Why are they going along with these lies? Why do you think there is such a push to tell us we're idiots and to not believe our eyes?
Well, first of all, can I just say, finding out that a Nigerian bloke doesn't hang around to raise his children, that I am astounded to hear that. That never happens. Secondly, I do think if you think of this logically, there's a reasonable response for that as well, isn't it? Because they've spent the last 20 years telling us all that there shouldn't be any borders. We're all the same. We all should live in some homogenous mass. Like I've told you this, they don't want us to live in countries. They don't like us having tradition and nation states. They just want a big giant, the entire planet to be one giant shit country. And I think as part of that narrative, they're trying to convince us all that, well, we could all come from anywhere. Like, what does it matter where you're from? Is there even such a thing as a place where you're from? Aren't we all just from planet Earth? Like, I think this leads on from that narrative that they think they're trying to destroy the idea that, identity. They're attacking it, aren't they?
Something that you can identify with,
Yeah.
like your roots. Like, and how can they allow this lie? It's like Hillary Hayward Thomas, also known as Hillary Baldwin, which pisses me to no end when she claims that she's Spanish.
Yeah.
Hola. And she's named her 7 or 8, 9 fucking children, because she's like a tribe now. They all
She's
have Spanish.
unbelievable. She's a maniac, that woman. You told me about her. I knew very little about her, and then I started Googling her, and I was like, oh my God, she's
You
a
should do a video
psycho.
about her.
Like, she is a fucking maniac. Like, there's no polite way to say that. She's completely tonto. And it's this weird. Don't you think it makes sense, though? That they've been obsessed with identity for like 10 years. That's why people keep going on about it, identity politics. And it's because part of this ideology is destroying the past and getting rid of this idea that that you cleave to your past and your identity and your tradition and your history. And if they can just sell this stuff to us, that really we all can be from anywhere, like, and it doesn't, there's no such thing as your place where you're from. We're all just this giant homogenous sludge, and it's fine. That is part of their narrative. That's why, like, think of this. They keep going on about nowadays. They've actually said with a straight face, blacks built Britain. And there was none. Like, there was none even in the 80s. If you walked around London in the 80s, you didn't see any. Like, the ethnic minority population in the UK in the 80s, this is literally true. In the 80s, it was 98.7% white British. In the 1980s, but they'll tell us, oh, you know what? Idris Elba's dad built St. Paul's Cathedral. He fucking didn't. He didn't. And this is all part of this weird thing to convince everybody that you don't have any ties to where you come from. Because if you don't have any ties to where you come from, they can steer you where you're going. If you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. And that's why they hate they hate tradition, they hate traditionalists, they hate old-fashioned conservatives, they hate middle-aged people who don't want to do as they're told. It's all just part of this ongoing global attack on everything that people like you and I, basically everyone over the age of about 35, holds dear. It's the anywheres and the somewheres. Have you ever read about that guy? It was really, there was a book written by an English philosopher talking about it, and he said the big difference in the world now is between the somewheres and the anywheres. And the somewheres are people like me who are actually from somewhere, like born and raised in Middlesbrough in the northeast of England, and it's an inherent part of my identity. And if Middlesbrough gets changed, you've lost a massive part of yourself because you're from there. That's you to your very core of your being. And he said the anywheres are always like the lunatics that run the world. And whenever you get a weirdo, I remember making a video about this about 4 or 5 years ago and looking into it. And whenever you get a weirdo who's pushing this type of narrative, they're always anywheres, which means spent a couple of years in Leipzig and spent a couple of years in London, and then I went to Paris, and then I went to Rome, and then I went to Sydney. And this lunatic lefty wokeist from The Guardian wrote a piece entitled, brilliant headline, Donald Trump won the election, now I can't open jam jars. And it was this fat lass saying that ever since Trump won the election, she was so depressed she couldn't go to the gym. So she was blaming Trump for her getting fat and unfit. And I Googled her out of interest because I thought she's a classic case study for this somewheres, anywheres hypothesis. And I Googled her, and sure enough, it was Bridget was born and raised in like so-and-so. And then when she was 7, she moved to London. And then when she was 10, she went to Paris, and then Madrid and Sydney. Oh yeah, and then I went on the Ardennes, and then I spent some time in Venice. And that's what they're like. So they view the world as this big global hodgepodge, and they don't care where they are, and they're comfortable anywhere. But normal people like us, we're somewheres. We're from a place, and we identify with the place, and we like the place. And they've noticed that the anywheres are amenable to destroying tradition. LGBTQ plus AI, we'll tell you what to think. We'll tell you where to go. And the somewheres aren't. The somewheres are resistant to it. We dig our heels in, and we say, no, we like where we come from. We liked our upbringing. We liked it when the schools told you about maths and didn't tell you that you should be noshing people off. There's this real difference between our fundamental worldview, and I think that is exactly what's going on there. It's leaning into this. They've noticed that the somewheres are resistant to change, so they want to turn us all into anywheres. And a great way of doing it is to constantly talk about your identity and say, you're not really Irish, you're a Nigerian. Someone will tap me on the shoulder one day and say, you're not really from England, you're from Angola. So shut up morning when we ship in 10,000 Angolian blocks and you go back to your hometown and there's a Zulu walking through the street with a spear. That's normal. That's exactly what's going on here. Like I said, it all makes sense when you pay attention, doesn't it? Because I'd never heard that story, and it was a good question. And I'm making this up on the fly because I've never even read it. But it totally makes sense, doesn't it? It rings true.
It does. But it's just like, for example, Rachel Dolezal. I don't know if you know who this lady is.
I know she is. Another raving lunatic.
You asked me about all the weirdos. She identified as Black, and she was canceled. I mean, trolled, canceled. How dare you? That's cultural appropriation. Even wearing braids, apparently, it's cultural appropriation. And here we have Ilaria. She even changed Ilaria. I mean, this woman, literally, it's creating her children. Like Richard Dolezal she lost her job, she lost everything. We have Hillary Hayward Thomas, a white chick from Boston, privileged background, claiming to be Spanish. How do you speak incumbent? How do you say? How do you, I mean,
Another
and she
anywhere.
gets
Another
caught.
anywhere.
She gets caught. She's exposed. And instead of Hollywood shaming her like they did Rachel Dolezal, because at least Rachel Dolezal had black children, um,
Yeah.
she is married to one of the whitest Irish people on earth, which is Alec Baldwin. Her kids are white as they come. Oh, but they all have Spanish names. Can you imagine? I really do think that woman is
Cringe.
mentally unstable. And Hollywood and the elites are catering again to confusion. This is what I said in the beginning. They want to cater to confusion, lack of identity, no moral values, not taking pride in your own culture. Because why doesn't she raise her kids as American, raising them like, with his father and her? With
Yeah.
their father and her ancestry, because they're both Irish British. Why doesn't she raise them in their culture? No,
Exactly.
she has to lie. She has to lie, and she still, Alec Baldwin still has his IG Baldwinito. I mean, he knows his wife lied. He knows his wife got caught, and then they try to do all these things. For example, if I were to bronze my face the way Rachel Meghan Markle does, my channel would be canceled in a minute,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
she's
Weird, that, isn't
all over the place.
it? As I said, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant how you tell me stuff that I've never even heard of before, and as soon as I hear it, I'm like, it all just plays into the narrative. Yeah, so that is exactly what you'd expect. They're anywheres. It's cringe to people that are from somewhere.
Yes.
When you're a somewhere, it's cringe. It is cringe. If one of my mates is like, "Oh yeah, I identify as a Hoosier," and starts, trying to act like a Frenchman, like, what are you doing, you dickhead? But these people, it is cringe, isn't it? Like, just
yeah.
be where you're from. We know where you're from,
Exactly,
Alex.
exactly. For me, my grandfather, he came from Yugoslavia, former Yugoslavia, from Montenegro, from Centini. There's even museums dedicated to my family in Centini in Montenegro. But my grandfather came from Yugoslavia, proper Slavic man. When he came to Canada, he met his wife, his future wife, who was half French, half Russian. And then when my dad came, he was born in Canada, but of course he's already mixed, right? And then he comes to Nicaragua and he meets my mother. My mom is half Spanish from Spain, she's Lebanese, Spain from Spanish, and some Latin from Nicaragua. There's a mix there. But I'm not gonna go to Montenegro. Oh, I'm Montenegrin now because and I have a high percentage of Montenegrin because of my grandfather was pure blood. But there's already a mix. It's like me saying, they say, why do you identify as Nicaraguan as well? Because I part of grew up here. I identify as Canadian and Nicaraguan because I grew up in both countries. I enjoy both cultures. You don't see me partializing, with thing. And I have the curse that no matter which language I speak, I have an accent in each language. In Spanish, I have an accent. In English, I have an accent. In French, I have an accent. In Norwegian, I have an accent, because I never really stuck to one language, so it's kind of like yeah, like that, because that's part of my upbringing. But you don't see me going to Russia because my great grandmother was Russian. Oh, I'm gonna go to Russia now, and I'm
And tell
Russian.
everyone how Russian I am.
I'm Russian.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dress like a Russian, and I love Russian culture. I'm not gonna do that because I am from where I was born and where I lived most of my life, and I pay homage. Of course, I acknowledge that I have that heritage because I can't hide it. It's not like I'm going out of my way to like, oh my God, I'm European.
No, but it's an interesting thing to bring up because I have ranted about this before in the past at work. I remember someone asking me about it, like where I was from, and because I'm a somewhere, like it means a lot to me. And I remember telling this bloke, I was like, America's got a great culture. America's got its own culture. Yeah, they're Anglos and they're
Yeah.
of the British, but they've got their own culture and they've got monster trucks and barbecue and guns and their own music and their own traditions. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I like it. Now I'm here I'm a new American, so I really like it. I'm really into it, and I think you should celebrate the 4th of July and get the Stars and Stripes out and do all that stuff. But I don't tell everyone I don't put on a fake accent and go, "Gee whiz, fellas," And I remember telling them, I was like, if I have a kid over here and he's born and raised in America, I'll slap him round the ear if he tells people I'm English. I'll be like, you're not English, you little twat. You were born and raised here, so shut up and embrace the fact that you're an American. To us somewhere, it's cringe and laughable when people try and act like they're from everywhere because it's like thinks that gives them kudos. It's cringe and it's laughable And that's
Yeah,
what
it's also
sad bastards do.
disrespectful. It's disrespectful and disingenuous, to tell you the truth, you know. And you know what's so funny, man? Because the reason why the royals, especially the British royals, were such a fascinating family and everything, was because of the traditions, because
Yeah.
of everything, you know, like people wanted to see the royals, the queen, because the queen, you know, that, oh, they're going to come, and the US president's going to the UK. They love being taken in that carriage, you know, and inspecting the military, you know, and that pompous, and, you know, like everything. This is the fascination with the royal family, which Charles is literally pissing away. He's pissing on UK British culture,
Yeah.
ancestry, and tradition. And there's nothing wrong with being proud of your tradition, your culture. You know what's another thing that I hear a lot? Oh, it's such a white balcony. Back up the fucking truck.
Ludicrous.
You don't say that about the Japanese royal family or the Saudi Arabian family. Oh, it's such a
Yeah.
Saudi Arabian balcony, or it's such a Japanese balcony, because it would seem very offensive. You don't
No,
say
no,
that.
but ludicrous. Not just offensive, ludicrous. That nobody else does it. And this is what I keep telling you. It's never the ethnic minorities pushing this stuff. It's white middle class knobheads. You would never ever get a Japanese or a Chinese or a Nigerian person go, whoa, look at all them white people on that balcony in England. Because it's ludicrous. It's just us. Like, oh, there's too many white people there. You're in a white country. When Humza, the bloke from Scotland, the lily whitest place in the world, like, I think the first black man in Scotland got there in about 2005. It's one of the whitest countries in the world. And this guy's like, the Advocate General, white. All of the top judges, white. It's like, of course they are. And in Japan, they'd be like, yeah, they're all Japanese here. Funny old thing.
No,
It's
but can you
just
imagine
them.
going to Nigeria? You talked about Nigeria. Can you imagine going to Nigeria and say, "Oh, all your people are black. Why don't
Yeah,
you have a
this is
white
weird. Yeah.
president? Why don't you have a white president?" They would probably look at you and say,
Are
"Get
you
the fuck out
mental?
of here! Are you mad? Are you, you know, this is the majority of our population. You know, whether people like it or not. There's nothing wrong with being white. I have news flash for you. There's nothing wrong with being white, contrary to popular belief. If you're a white hetero male, it's okay. You
I
know,
told you though, this is why I like doing YouTube and reading the news every day, because honestly, in this day and age, it is just comedy gold. Like, it's so preposterous that it shouldn't even be a thing. And the fact that it is a thing is hysterically funny to me. Like, it is preposterous in a nation like England or Scotland for people to complain that there's not enough diversity. It's like I said, in Nigeria and Japan and China, they must think it's comedy. They must think it's comedy. A Chinese bloke will see a TV program with white people on in this country like Scotland going, oh yeah, there's not enough Chinese people on that balcony. And they'll be like, oh, this is funny. Is this the latest British comedy show that I've never heard about? It's completely ludicrous, like on the face of it. It's like complaining about a rainbow having colours in it. Whoa, look at that rainbow, that's got red in it. That's weird. It's not weird. It's the most normal thing in the world. And the fact that you think it's weird just tells me that you're mentally ill. That's all I can say about it.
no, but you know, I was laughing. I sent you those articles of this guy, guys. I'm gonna. It's an article that this guy Grape, for the algorithm. We can't say the word. This prisoner, this male prisoner, raped a female prisoner because I mean he's a female, identifies as a female. He's like
Of course
6.
he is.
Yeah, and this, and he raped this female who wasn't safe. And you know what? Guess what? They're worried about how the male who identifies as a female, how that's gonna impact on him.
Yeah.
You know, Matt, it's like, why? What am I doing here? You know, like, am I reading right? I mean, I
Well, I
watched
mean,
your
didn't you see
video.
the one in Scotland where the bloke had the tattoos on his face?
Well,
Like, so what I
no,
mean, it's why it's like satire. It's like it's like comedy genius, because it's never just not like what. How can I explain it? It appears to be comedy when it's so preposterous. Like, most things from comedy come with the unexpected, right? So it's either 9 out of 10 punchlines in a comedy joke is you don't see it coming. It's the opposite of what you would expect. So, and with stuff like that, the comedy comes from the fact that it's way in excess of what you'd expect. And that's why it is like it's on Monty Python or something. Because when you get a bloke complaining about not being thought of as a woman, it's never even like a good-looking bloke. This is why it's funny.
It's like Jeffrey Marsh. We go back to Jeffrey Marsh again, don't we? We always end up with that guy, don't we?
And the one I'm talking about in Scotland, in fact, I'll have a quick Google and see if I can find it. Scottish.
Yeah, you can send it to me. If you can send it to me in the private chat, I'll put it there.
Because honestly, right, this bloke had like a skinhead, tattoos on his face. Like, if it wouldn't be as funny if the person complaining about not being all woman was an effeminate, attractive man.
Exactly.
If it was like Johnny Depp or something.
Woman?
if it was a young Johnny Depp saying, "Oh, they won't accept me as a woman," then it wouldn't be as funny. But whenever you see a story and it's this Scottish bloke going, "Oh, they won't accept me as a woman," he's like an absolute unit with tattoos on his face, a skinhead, looks like he could beat the shit out of like Mike Tyson. Like, that's why it's hilariously funny to me, because you know what I'm saying? If it was a thin, effeminate man, it wouldn't be hilarious. But it's never a thin, effeminate man. It's always a meathead.
It's like this guy, you know, I saw it in the mail early this morning. The female runners, he just beat them all by more than a second, you know, and he's getting his first prize trophy. And and all the women or all the female runners are like really pissed, you know, and they got almost like with a beard, you know, it's like, and I'm looking like, oh my God, I would be so, you're right, Molly. Oh, Megan Small, I love you. Sexual deviants being allowed to live out their disgusting fantasies.
There's the story. I put it in the private chat. Look at that story.
Okay, I'll look it up.
You'll laughing at it. You'll howl laughing. So basically, the top photo is him when he turned up in court in a pink jacket. Pink everything pink as well. A pink jacket, a pink jacket and a wig. And then go down a little bit, you'll see what he actually looks like. And like I said, it wouldn't be hilarious if it was like, you know, young Johnny. Look at that.
That's him?
A big, fat skinhead with tattoos all over his face. And this is what you're dealing with. So it's, to me, that's hilarious comedy. Like, it could be some sort of like, and they always,
don't you find that they always transition when they're going to trial because they don't want to go to male prison?
Yeah, he looked like that before the court case. And when he turns up in the court case, it's even that's hilarious because the feminists always say, "Oh, what is a woman? Like, you shouldn't pigeonhole women. Men pigeonhole women. Women can dress however they want. Women can act however they want. A woman can be a builder or a bricklayer." But whenever a trans skinhead tattoo sex pest turns up as a woman, it's always pink bomber jacket, pink lippy, pink handbag, high-heeled shoes, you know, like, this is what I'm saying. It's like, it's satire. It's like comedy. Because everything they say is like insane.
Jeffrey Marsh even has his beard, you know? He doesn't even clean shave or anything like that. He's got that how do you call it? That beard, you know? He looks so awful. He looks, and, you know,
I know.
That's what bothers me. We always have this conversation that he's not canceled on TikTok. And yet when I do TikToks calling him out, or saying, you know what, you're not, you should, I remember that I told you about that video I did because he was saying to the kids, don't listen to your parents.
Unbelievable.
The parents don't understand you. But if you want to really hear yourself and go to somebody who will understand who you're going through, just join my private Patreon for $20. And it's like, and I said, wait a minute, you can have a man dressed as a woman wearing a beard telling vulnerable children who may be confused that not to listen to their parents, that the parents don't have their best interest at heart. Cancel my cancel.
And you're the bad guy, yeah. So this is what I'm saying. So isn't it funny? Like, at this point, it's funny. It's so ludicrous. It's like something from a comedy show. Like the naked, blatant, brazen sex pest is the good guy, and when you complain about it, you get cancelled. Or the big burly man with the tattoos on his face comes in the pink.
I'm shocked. And why is he allowed to transition mid-trial?
Because these psychopaths are in on it, aren't they?
Send him to a male thing. They should have a prison for transgender people, and that will put an end to that. Why don't they have a prison for transgender men or transgender females?
Well, I think this is one of those rare occasions where you're far more tolerant and liberal than I am, Paula, because I just sling them in with the men. I don't care. A trans prison, it'd be too expensive. I don't want us to pay for all these special
Well,
facilities for those people.
they can put, for example, a section of the male prisons where they sent these trans women, because then I can guarantee you, Matt, if they do that, you will suddenly see a decrease in men transition into women in the middle of the trial in order to be sent. I mean, basically they don't cut their penis off. They still have their dicks when they go to the women's section
Yeah.
because they're raping them like crazy, you know?
Yeah.
So clearly they have their PENIS.
Well, like I said, my plan would work better. I would find the biggest, hairiest, scariest male inmate and put them in with them. I'd be like, you've tried to take the piss, so I'm going to take the piss out of you. Here's Randy Ron, the burly sexual offender. You're sharing with him. Don't forget your pink handbag. Clink. That'd be me, done. Because just fucking... I like Megan's balls right there. That's good.
Yeah, it's called a nut house. Yeah,
that's
you
good.
know, I mean, it's insane. It's insane. But I mean, but it all comes, if you look at everything we've talked about, it's again promoting confusion, no, keeping, not giving specified identities. You know, it's like you can't tell. You know that even some hospitals, they don't want to declare the sex of the baby when it's born. They ask the parents, would you like us to identify the child as, male or female?
Lunacy.
He was born with male genitalia, but how would you like us to identify this child as? This is how, I kid you not, Matt, this is real.
I've told you, I've seen, that's my favorite meme, the doctor holding the baby out and it says, I don't know what it is, but it's got a cock. Like to the parents, the proud parents, the doctor's all that was like, I don't know what it is, but it's got a cock. Like, that's the world we're living in. Like I said, this is why I'm always in a good mood, despite the fact the world's gone completely insane. I'm always in a good mood because it's hilarious. If you have the right mindset, you can find this stuff funny because it's like comedy gold. Like all the shit we've talked about today would be on like a comedy sketch show in the 80s.
Oh yeah, I would think it's something funny. You know, you would think that we're living, you know, the Twilight Zone. You remember that show? It's like literally that. You know that a couple have sued. I don't know where the lawsuit ended, but they sued the doctor for identifying their child as female because they feel that they were traumatized, and that created trauma in the infant because that would define the infant's life. I don't know where it ended, the lawsuit, but even
Here's another you've just reminded me of on about the infant. Did you see the story about the kid who they've, obviously because now there's a pecking order in England, the little Nigerian kid who they've called the world's greatest, like, youngest artist? Have you seen that? It's almost as daft. It's like this kid's about like, you know, 1.5 or something. And they've said, oh yeah, this kid's an artistic visionary. And you look and there's just a picture of this little black kid with a bit of paper and there's just shit all over it. It's like, because it's a child. And all the lefties are going, oh, this is amazing. He's like a young Jackson Pollock. I was like, no, it's a kid daubing shit on a bit of paper because that's what they do. That's what I'm saying. All the stuff we've discussed in the last hour, that'd be on Monty Python in the 80s. Definitely. The little kid being called the new Jackson Pollock, the big tattooed skinhead with the pink lippy and the wig on being more woman than a woman. Because they say that now, don't they, as well? They go, oh, technically, trans women put a lot more effort in to being women, so we understand it more than real women. So technically, a trans woman is way more women than a woman.
That's what really pisses me off. That's what really pisses me off, because when I see these men pretending to be women, they ridicule what a woman looks like because they go overboard. I have never seen a female I've never seen a female, Matt, that acts like that. And I have a lot of female friends of mine that are incredibly feminine, but you don't see them looking like ridicule, looking around. Like, oh my God.
They're not feminine. No, I'm feminine. I've got a hairy back and massive forearms. I'm definitely more feminine than they are. And Jeffrey Marsh is more feminine than Madonna or Angelina Jolie or some woman with 11 kids, right? We'll tell you what feminine is, woman with children.
It's like a parody of us. They make a parody of us, you know? And like Megan Mole says, it's a hand painting on a canvas, pretty much. But it's like now this participation medals, fuck that. Either you win or you don't. I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Because when you get participation medals, then kids don't try to be the best, to do their best. Screw that. You go for the gold, buddy. You know, and if you
Yeah.
come second, you lost. You know, if you come third, you lost even more. You know, but
Yeah.
I don't like participation medals. I can say, well done. No fucking medal for you. You didn't do it. There's one part, because then it's not fair for the person who actually made the effort to earn the medal.
Yeah.
I mean,
and this is what I'm saying. Like, when you're on the same page on this stuff, we can talk for hours. We could talk for 10 hours and we wouldn't run out of examples, because the psychopaths that rule the world have instituted this with a globe across the globe with an iron fist. And now everybody believes the same shit. And if you don't join in, you get cancelled and other eyes, and you're a bad person.
I can't hear you.
Can't hear me? That's weird. Let me check my mic. Yeah, don't think anything else
Megan
changed.
Small is intelligent and gorgeous. I can't hear you. Your sound went.
Hang on then. Let me go back.
Is it only me? Oh, he's coming back. But Megan Small, I mean, I didn't know you were watching. I could have sent you the link for you to participate with us. That would have been a lot of fun. I just thought that you were asleep, gorgeous. Hopefully Matthew will come back. But go subscribe. Oh, here he is. Oh, here he is. Go for it.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, that's weird. Who knows? But yeah, you never run out of talking about this stuff, do you? Because it's being instituted across the world. Like this is all they want us to talk about. So you'll never run out of these topsy-turvy, up is down, complete nonsense. Like,
yeah, but you know what's really interesting, Matt, and this is the thing that I want to tell you. If we apply this to everything that's going on, it really goes with politics. Look at Alec Baldwin. He's, you know, one of the things I'm happy he's going to trial.
Yeah,
he's gonna be taken to trial, and that's good, because, you know, they didn't just dismiss that. You know, they didn't dismiss it, because I thought they were going to dismiss it. You know, I thought they were going to say, oh no, you know, you can't, we're not going to take him because he's not guilty. The fact that they're taking him to trial, I think it's a positive. I mean, what do you think?
Well, again, I'm much more cynical than you are. I think they know exactly where the line is. Yeah, I think they know exactly where the line is. And if it's a really, really, really big case, they think propriety is important. So they'll pretend they're going through it, but it'll be a sham. So he's getting hauled over the coals there because it's a very public thing and it's quite a famous story. But they won't do anything about it. He's in the club, isn't he? He's in the big club, so they won't do anything about it. He'll get a slap on the wrist, probably fine him, and then let him off.
That's really sucks. You know, that really sucks, Matt. But I want to thank you, because I know you've been here for an hour and a half. I woke you up because I'm a moron. I am a complete moron. I apologize for the time. I promise you the next one, I will make fucking sure that I got the time right. Thanks to everybody who participated. Please go subscribe to Matt. It's one of my favorite channels, for reals. I love the one that you did about the fire, or the fire department. When you said that, it was like Carlton's Carlton's dad driving the yeah. I was drinking my coffee when you said that it was like the fire department now is so poor in quality that is like you will see a fat guy like Carlton's father from Prince Bel-Air driving the fire truck, and then you see Carlton in the back dancing, you know, and then it is that bad. Because
there's no quality anymore. There's no quality control. Well, think about it. We can end on that. It's even linked, like everything, to what we've just been talking about. There's no quality control. Because in the 80s, when someone said they were a woman, they at least used to try. In the 80s, when a man said he was a woman, he'd have like nice makeup and like a nice tasteful dress on. Yeah. And you almost couldn't tell. You go, oh yeah. Now they look like me and they've got a big beard and they go, I'm a woman. Like, that's proof.
Did you see that article? I don't know if I sent you that article in the mail online of a bunch of bearded men wearing high heels, walking the street down London, like butch bearded men walking, saying, oh my God, we love being women. And I'm like, not one female trying to be men. It's always men trying to be women. Have you noticed that?
Always.
You notice that? That's another thing I wanted to talk about. It's never a female. They never have a female in their group who's trying to be a man. It's always men, bearded men. And
always, yeah.
And one guy even has a big fat belly. Most of them are fat. big,
Yeah.
curly, bearded men wearing skirts and high heels walking down the street in London. It's like, we're proud to be women. I'm like,
You know what my theory is with that? Why they're always ugly as well? I think it's because they know they can't get any, so they think they can force women into doing it. Like, have you seen them now saying lesbian women are not allowed to turn down trans women? So now they're all going on the lesbian dating apps. Blokes that look like me, and they're going, "I'm a woman, suck me cock." It's like that's actually happening again. You always think I'm joking because the
no,
world's
no, I
gone mad.
believe you. I
That's
believe you. I
real.
believe you.
Because when there's a famous Italian American podcaster, and she's a lesbian, and she wrote this big angry piece on Indeed or whatever it is that
Mhm.
that one we have to subscribe to the thing. Substack, that's it. She wrote a big piece about it, and the headline was "Suck the cock, bigot," because they're turning up for a date with lesbian women, just like a bloke like me with a wig on, a fat bloke who can't get a girlfriend, and he's like, "Oh, you have to suck my lesbian cock, or else you're a bad person." As if
Or,
lesbians are just going to
you're
go.
discriminating, or you're just
Yeah.
discriminating.
So they think the hot lesbians are going to go, "Okay then, zip, I suppose I've got to do." And that's my theory. That's why they're always fat, ugly blokes. Because if the normal blokes like me who can actually get a girlfriend, they go,
Yes, of course.
they're not that interested. They're not that interested. So it's the fat, creepy, weird ones are like, "Ooh, maybe I can use this ploy to get a girlfriend to touch my dick. I'll tell her she's a bigot if she won't go near
And
it."
don't you find that, for example, you hurt their feelings of this big burly man if you call them ugly, or if you can't get laid. You're hurting the feelings of this big burly bearded man wearing high heels if you
Yeah.
don't conform to what they're saying. So in a way, it's a way of form of abuse. So it's disgusting. But I just want to say something. Matt is going to be on Ragnar Iron Spear. Did I say the name correctly?
Ragnar, yeah, that's his name.
He's going to be there on 90 minutes. So please go watch it, because as usual, you can see the kind of conversations that Matt has with people.
Slightly obscene. Yeah, don't turn
No,
up
no,
if you're
no.
upset by
You have
language.
no idea how much I look forward to our chats, Matt. You have no idea how much I look forward to them. And anytime you want me on our channel, I have sworn not to go to any other people's channels because of a bad experience I had. But with you, I
Well,
will
come
go
on,
to yours.
man.
Yes, I'll
All right,
come on
nice
yours.
one.
Absolutely fucking right. You're one of the, yeah, I think you're going to be only one of the two that I go by. I'm not going to do any more interviews with anybody. But
It's a shame.
yes, but yeah, I'm so honored that you come into my channel. I'm very humbled. You know that I'm a huge fan of yours. And so please go subscribe to his channel. He's a white hetero British bloke, near extinction, if you think about it.
Yeah, there's
You're
not
rare.
many of them anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a rare species. So thank you very much for coming, Matt, and please go watch him with Ragnar Iron Spear. You can tell that I have an issue with that when I Ragnar Iron Spear.
No, you got
So
that
I hope
done.
I'm saying it correctly.
You
So
speak
because
better English than me. I'm English. We don't we spawn the language, but we don't do a very good job of speaking it. Anyway, thanks for having me.
No,
I'll talk
thank
to you
you,
soon.
sweetie, and have a great day, Matt.
See you later. Bye.
Bye bye. So please go subscribe to Matt the Angry Bootneck. He's amazing. I want to thank everybody for the super chats. His channel, let me see for you guys to see that. And I just want to say something here. Isn't it insane, that story with Meghan Markle? Would you guys like me to read you the article? So go to Matt the Angry Bootneck and do that. I'm going to put it in the video description. It's Angry Bootneck. But I just want to do this article because isn't it funny, guys? That this article, she found out she was Nigerian in Nicaragua. Isn't it amazing? Would you like me to hear that? Okay, I will leave this thing as well. The name of the lady is Georgina. She's from Surrey, and she was brought up. Her two parents were white, but clearly she's not. She knew there was some mixed race, and the way that her parents justified it was by saying that there must have been a relative in the family, and this is where she was getting her looks. So when she was old enough, she got herself a DNA. After her father passed away, she found out that her father wasn't her father, which was a huge shock for her. Okay. And then when she decided to travel the world, and while she was in Nicaragua, where I am right now, guys, she found out that she was 43% Nigerian. Does that ring a bell? The number is incredibly specific. She published this in 2020, guys. Okay. And she was a writer for The Guardian. And Meghan Markle, I think she did her thing in 2021, her podcast or whatever she wants to call it. So, and then she found out she was 43%. Well, in Nicaragua, she got her results by email or whatever. And as she says, I'm going to read this. On a brilliantly hot Caribbean morning in March 2017, as the first of the day's sunshine poured through the shutters of my tiny beachfront apartment, spread across the floorboards like warm golden syrup, I received the results of my third DNA test in a year. I looked out of the window at a sparkling sea moments from my building. I was seconds away from giant palm trees, crystalline waters, and powdery white sands of Nicaragua. Corn Island. This is Corn Island, the Atlantic. I was born in the Atlantic. And then she says 3,241 miles away from, from London. That's when she found out, guys. That's when she found out about being 43%. And I'm going to tell you how she correctly says it, because it's very important for people to understand the difference. Megan Small, I've sent you the link to this live in case you have time and you want to join me for a little bit. So she's talking about this, and she's saying that I was seconds away from the giant trees, the white sands of Nicaragua's Corn Islands, 3,241 miles away from my old life on the outskirts of London. But that morning, I had to confront my past and everything I'd left behind. And I had to tell my mom of my genetic news. I didn't know how she'd react. Down a surprisingly clear FaceTime link to London. Do you guys remember that Rachel Meghan Markle said pretty much the same? I said, I've got the test results back. What followed was a long stretch of silence. Does that also ring a bell? Then finally a response. What did it say? Does that ring a bell? Because those are pretty much word by word what Meghan Markle said that her mother said. Well, I am Nigerian. Another pause. 43%, actually. And the rest of me comes from Ireland, which we know since that's from you. I trailed off. Does that sound familiar? So do you think my biological father could be Nigerian? Clearly. I asked flatly, is this maybe jogging your memory at all? I don't want to talk about this. Mom, we need to. I don't have anything else to say, Georgina. Okay. So I will leave the link of this article. Any of you have right now in the video description right here. I will leave it right here. Here, there we go. And you guys can see it. Yeah, it's so I think it's about time the entire world started. I was gonna publish it, but Andrew POV beat me to it. But anyways, go watch his video. I'll show you his video. It's right here. Andrew, let me see. Andrew POV. Let me see. 88 POV. Please go watch it. I will do a video later, but I think his video is great. It's out there, so you guys should go watch it. Let me try and see if I can get his videos here for you. I think it's this one. I'm not sure. Oh, here it is. I'm going to share it with you guys. Copy it, and please go and watch that here. Okay, so you can see it. It's that that's Andrew's video. So you can go watch it as well. I'm also going to leave right now the link of Andrew, the Bootneck, so you guys can watch it as well. Because, oh dear, did Meghan Markle just lie? Did we catch her in another lie? Did we catch her in another lie? I ask you, beautiful people, because, I mean, what do you think? She said, oh, I found out through a DNA test that I'm 43% Nigeria. It's too specific. Meghan Markle never thought she'd get caught because she didn't think that this lady was too well known. And she just said the first story that she read that she thought would look credible. Because, I mean, this lady, and she says, is my father from a tribe in Nigeria. She doesn't say Nigerian as the citizenship. She says a tribe in Nigeria. She found out she's 43% of a tribe in Nigeria, which implies that her father was directly from Nigeria. We know that Doria Cell Block Raglan is not from Nigeria. Okay. So I just wanted to say that, and let me see something. I'm gonna share something with you here, guys, because I want you to go to Angry Bootneck. here. No, I'm gonna do that. So I want to leave one of his videos here so you guys can. You're asking me for his links, and I'm gonna leave you the link to his channel because I want you guys to go watch him. I think it's amazing. I'm gonna put it right now in the comment section. So I don't think Molly is available at the moment, but I just wanted to say hello. That's Angry Bootneck. Please go and do that. So why is the entire world? We just spent an hour and a half talking to Matt about identity, about how people are erasing the lines of identity, culture, how people are not proud of their culture. Meghan Markle has no Nigerian. She's not 43%. She simply stole this woman's story because she's less known than she was, and she thought she wasn't going to be found out. So I think it's about time the entire world asked Meghan Markle to present or do a very public DNA test publicly by an independent agency and by somebody who's independent and confirm to see what the results are. And do you think we'll be shocked to find out she's not Nigerian? I ask you. Or that she's not 43% Nigerian. Yeah, Robin White, but this is where we are right now with these lies. Okay, this is where we are right now with these lies, and this is again what I was talking with Matt. Lack of identity. Anybody can claim it. I'm gonna call myself Black from now on, and nobody can tell me otherwise. I'm from Black. I'm gonna identify myself as Black. I'm going to paint myself Black, and I'm going to see what happens, because this is what we're seeing with Rachel Meghan Markle, usurping somebody else's identity. Okay, that she's a big fat liar, along with Miss Anne Harriman, because I got an answer from the email. I got an email. Let me see. I got an email from let me see. I got an email from the National Portrait Gallery, which I'll read out to you guys, okay? And you tell me who's lying here. I sent it to everybody, so everybody can. And the email says the following. This is the email. I'm going to hide my email address. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm going to put myself out here. I'm going to put myself out there here. And then this, I put it the wrong. You can tell that I'm not this is from, you can see info and npg.org.uk. Dear Paula, thank you for contacting the National Portrait Gallery. I am pleased to hear of your interest in our collection. There is no date yet when Mr. and Miss Anne Harriman's portrait of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will be announced to the public. We're still evaluating the portrait. And then they said, in order to stay up to date with the gallery's latest announcement, please subscribe to our monthly newsletter, blah, 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 blah. So, and you know what's the worst part of it all? Is that the world and the mainstream media are running with the story, not that the National Portrait Gallery put out, but the story that Miss Anne Harriman put out, which is a lie. Because what they want to do is that if the National Portrait Gallery does not accept his badly photoshopped picture, he's going to go on and he's going to do another little black and white video, and he's going to be, oh my God, they're racist. He's doing that because they're racist, and they did that. Yes, that's what we're going to see, because everything is race baiting. And I just have a message to Miss Anne Harriman. Race baiting is such old news. Find another victimhood narrative, because nobody's buying. You look weird, you act weird, and you're a liar. Okay, so that's just my opinion. These are all my thoughts and opinions. I consider you a liar, a race baiter, and this is from somebody who's also a minority. So you can't call me shit, because I lived in countries that are incredibly racist towards me, and I've lived it. So it's not only Black people who suffer racism. By the way, Rachel Meghan Markle, because thankfully I'm going to have the maid's interview, guys, done hopefully this week, coming week, if technology allows. And you'll see what a racist Rachel Meghan Markle is towards Latinos, the Latinos that are employed on her household or that are employed by an agency, and how she mocks them threatens them, and gets away with it. And yeah, she mocks the way they speak, she mocks the way they look, and she even mocks what they eat. So yeah, Miss Ann Harriman, I have bad news for you. And also, the Asians in the United States, 47% of the racist attacks that the Asian community suffer is at the hands of Black people. I lived in the United Kingdom, and thankfully I never suffered any racism. I had a wonderful time. The UK people were wonderful to me. In fact, they liked the fact that I was mixed race. And this is what Rachel Meghan Markle hated, the fact that she was mixed race, and she hated that people in the United Kingdom liked that, because she didn't want to be reminded that she was part Black. She wants to forget that she is part of that heritage. Like she said in her Netflix thing, nobody treated me as a Black woman, And before, I'm going to leave you also with this thing, which is from Megan Small, because Megan Small has this on her X account. And I'm going to put that because I am so happy that the Nigerian First Lady has trashed her or called her out on this. And I'm going to leave you guys. I want you guys to listen to this. Oh, Megan Small has something here. I'm going to, oh my God. We have to see this. Molly, I didn't know you managed to get that picture. Remember when we did our live where Megan Small said that there was a picture of Harry touching the nipples of this man? Oh, that's not good. That is not good. And Megan has no breasts, And Megan is here is flashing her titties over there. It's disgusting. It's disgusting, guys. I mean, I'm sorry. It is disgusting. So I'm going to show you this because this is what the First Lady. Oh, I haven't seen this, man. Oh, that is so gross. Oh, and this is the thing about the royal grift. It says the court, let me just pause you there to be a very lay person about it. Maybe, does that mean that if someone is a UK citizen, or I can't remember if it was Ireland or UK, but whatever, assuming a UK citizen, is credibly accused of a sexual assault crime and not prosecuted, and then appears for admission to the US, is there a box on the form for that person that has to check yes or no to? Yes, probably as to previous law enforcement. My God, this is not good. We're going to please go watch the royal grift because apparently she read it out loud, which is really good. Okay. And thank you, Molly, for doing this, because you always bring us to this. I just wanted to respond briefly to the government submission. The fact that one is accused regardless of how credibly of sexual abuse is actually not a ground to deny admission. Depending on how one's coming in, it could in theory be used discretionarily, but it's not a natural ground for admission. And therefore we could submit that this case is actually more egregious than Munich. I mean, so Harry has a sexual assault. I mean, this is going to be pretty horrible. And it's going to be interesting to find out about it. So we're going to listen to this lady.
To salvage our children. We see the way they dress. They keep forgetting that Nigeria, we are beautiful. The moment you can see what they showcase on the stage, I said we are fashionable. We see what is going on. We are not having a Met Gala, and everyone, their nakedness is just everywhere. And the men are well clothed. So we have to do something. Tell them the way it is. We don't accept nakedness in our culture. That is not beautiful. It's not beautiful at all. And they're all beautiful girls. But they should be confident to know they are. They don't want to be like, even they are mimicking and trying to emulate film stars from America. They don't know where they come from. Why did Meghan come here looking for Africa? That is something we have to take home with. We know who we are, and don't lose who you are. God bless you.
Now, the lady has said that the reason she said that she mentioned Meghan's name is because she said that the reason why Meghan came to Africa is because she thought that African women are more pious than the U.S. women. They're trying to turn it around as saying, "Oh, this is why Meghan came over here, because we were beautiful and we're proper and we're decent. That's why Meghan Markle came here, because she didn't want to emulate the actresses over there. They're trying to give that twist for the narrative. So I don't think that's what she said. Well, maybe she did, but I mean, what do you guys think? Because that is the twist that they're saying, that the reason why Meghan Markle went to Nigeria and tried to emulate a Nigerian woman is because how proper, beautiful, pious, modest, well-dressed women are. Okay, that's what they're saying. That's what the lady said. That's what they're claiming that she said, that's why Meghan Markle went to Nigeria, because all of the qualities of the Nigerian women, because she doesn't want to emulate. Now Meghan Markle is trashing A-list actresses who get naked or, show skin and stuff like that. And she did that while wearing almost no clothes, because she was pretty much almost naked in one, not naked, but I mean, incredibly disgusting outfits that were inappropriate, to say the least. And I'm going to show you this, because here is showing a side sternum, because she has no boobs. So she's showing a side sternum here. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm going to show you this, guys. You see this? And people, and then she's hugging men, like, do you see this? Yeah, she's showing that. She's showing that boob. Okay. And it's disgusting. She's disgusting. So but apparently that's what now they're putting out, that's what the first lady meant, that she meant to say that Meghan Markle was so taken by the modesty, beauty of the Nigerian women, that's why she came to Africa, because she sees herself there, not like emulating American actresses in the United States who take their clothes off. That's the spin that they're given right now to these news. I don't know if you agree with that. I mean, of course, it's up to you to decide whether you agree or not. But I mean, I'm going to show you this, guys, and you be the judge. And I mean, most of the times that Meghan Markle was in any show or TV, she was pretty much almost all the time naked. But I mean, you tell me what you decide, because she's disgusting. I find her appalling, and this is a lie. And I don't believe that narrative that they're trying to sell, that she went to Africa because, of course, she could identify with women in Nigeria because how they are, how they dress, and everything else. Maybe I could be wrong, but I mean, you tell me, because I don't think so. But I could be wrong. I mean, but I don't think so. That's Rachel Meghan Markle, naked, doing something there to a guy. Then we're gonna go here. I have to take it out because I don't want this to be demonetized. And then we have this here. This is Rachel Meghan Markle in Nigeria. We just heard the first lady saying that, nakedness is not, they don't want people to see naked. She has a hole here. Her sternum is showing. Her squawky legs, her nasty, disgusting toes are showing. It's and I'm not body shaming, it's the truth. And we just heard the Nigerian first lady say that, African women don't need to be almost naked out in the street. Look at that. Her snatches almost show, So, and then I'm going to show you this other one. So you can tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, there's nothing pious, modest, or beautiful about Rachel Meghan Markle and the choice of outfits she chose to wear when she went to a very conservative nation, which were hosting and paying her over $1 million to do. Look at this. Look at it. And her back is completely naked, her arms and everything, which is a big no-no out of respect for people. So, yeah, streetwalker. So I'm going to leave you guys. I done my Sunday work. I hope to see you, and I'm going to have a very good video tomorrow. I hope you watch it. And yeah, it's time to call out Meghan Markle. I left the article of her lies, the lies that she said about being Nigerian, the 43%. Now we know where the story comes from. And the lady found out while in Nicaragua that she was 43% Nigeria. She phoned her mother, and exactly word by word what Meghan Markle said to her mother and to her little story. I hope the Nigerian government, I hope all the newspapers print this. I doubt it, because they're all very complicit with everything they do. I hope they all start talking about this and expose her for what she is. a big fat liar, because the entire world we all know she's a big fat liar. This woman doesn't speak. This woman lies for a living. And the problem is that she was spoiled rotten as a child. She was never taught to say sorry. Because she never did anything wrong according to both her parents. Nothing she did was ever wrong, and everything she did was always right. So there's always some sort of responsibility in the parents. I'm not blaming it all on them, because she knows the right from wrong. But it's from a very young age, you're taught that no matter what you do, it's okay. There is an issue there. And we all have to take responsibility. If we teach our children right from wrong, teach them consequences, teach them to apologize, and the child still grows up to be an asshole, that's different. But when the parents have been complicit, or have been not complicit, but when the parents have never, or chose never to teach the child right from wrong, you are wrong. You can be wrong. And when you're wrong, you apologize. No wonder we have this little mess in our hands. And unfortunately, the mainstream media are colluding and catering to these lies, to this kind of slander to an entire nation, to the UK and the Commonwealth. And shame on King Charles for allowing this to keep going, because he has the power to issue a letters patent stating that Prince Henry will now be known as Henry Charles Albert David Sussex, or Windsor, Mountbatten Windsor, in public, and that he can only use his royal titles for royal official occasions. And that would be the end of any confusion. If he doesn't want to do the right thing, which is remove the titles from a man who has spat on everything, tradition, his culture, his own family, even his friends, that is his prerogative. As a father, he can take the spitting, any spitting that Harry gives to him and throws his way. But as a monarch, he should have some balls and do the right thing. And if he can't, he should move over and let somebody else do it. And that's all I have to say. I'm not a Charles hater, but it's just a fact, because he's screwing around with the monarchy and using cancer as an excuse to not do anything, or for people to call out the fact that he's making a mess of things. This is not my channel. My channel is not about pandering to anybody. This is not about hating Charles. It is a fact. And he cannot use the cancer shield forever for not doing anything, because he's going around to opera houses, having dinners, going here and there. So he's okay to write a letters patent to sort out this mess, to remove his wayward son from an official British monarchy's website, and stop endorsing a commercial private website, because that's like endorsing apple.com, that he has sussex.com, which is a commercial website. That's nepotism, and he's using the British monarchy's resources to give Harry money, which is wrong. I don't care if you're a Charlist, if you're a complete fanatic of Charles, and that is not right. You should question things. We spent an hour and a half with Matt the Angry Bootneck talking about critical thinking, calling things for what they are. I do criticize Harry and Meghan because of what they do, but my criticism is much harsher towards the people who are allowing this to continue. So thank you very much for watching, beautiful people, and I hope I see you tomorrow. And I hope you watch my videos and have a great, great day.